Hello, and thank you very much for navigating the 21st century job market. I want to give a special thank you, shout out to Union County and Monmouth County colleges for helping promote our program tonight. And I want to give the biggest shout out to Susan, who is very esteemed and knowledgeable. She is a communications professor at both Rutgers and NYU business schools. She does communications trainings for individuals and teams, and she runs Mach Creative Services. So without further ado, Susan, thank you for coming here tonight, and thank you to everyone else.
Thank you very much, everybody. And let me begin by apologizing. I meant no disrespect when I asked you to put your cameras on. I do not, please excuse me, I meant no disrespect. One of the points I was going to make in today's presentation was the importance of Zoom in selling yourself, and how your beautiful face and your personality and your dynamism, we don't see that if you're not on camera. And I think you must look, if you're looking for a job, and even if you're not looking for a job, you will be looking for a job soon. Here's my philosophy about the job market. Even if you're very, very happy about where you are, start thinking about where you want to be in the next 18 months, because that's how fast the job market is going. So I'll give you some advice. I'm going to share with you what I've learned from my MBA students. I teach MBA students from all over the world. And I also have had a corporate career. I worked for about 11 years at AT&T. And so there's nothing special about me. I'm just going to share with you what I've learned. And I look forward to learning from you. I love teaching. I love coaching, which is what I hope I'm doing tonight. Think of me as your coach. Think of me as your coach, because I think of me as someone you have hired as a consultant to give you advice. And I hope that you consider my advice, but I don't want you to think of me as a professor or as a teacher, because I want you to be the hero and the heroine of your own story. So I think one of the things we have to think of as we are job seekers are the people who came before us. This is a picture of Italian Americans who helped build the great railroads of the Northeast. I am the granddaughter of illiterate Sicilian peasants. My grandparents could not read or write in Italian. They couldn't even read or write in Sicilian. But this is, we have to honor our ancestors, because all of us, the typical American, that is, people shed blood, sweat, and tears to give us this opportunity that we all have living in this wonderful part of this wonderful country. And so we have to honor our ancestors. And that's what we have to think about as we navigate today's job market. Yes, everything is changing, but don't forget your backstory. Don't forget your backstory. Don't forget your background. So here's the good news. That thundering sound that you hear is the sound of 70 million baby boomers retiring. There is nothing but room at the top. 70 million baby boomers are leaving the job market. That leaves enormous opportunities for you. The script has been ripped up. You don't have to have an MBA from Harvard to get ahead. That's no longer the case. What is the case that it's a skills game, guys. And if you got the skills, if you're smart and you work hard, you will land on your feet. And why? They need you more than you need them. They need you more than you need them. So if you're smart and you work hard, there's tons of opportunity there. The trick, of course, is to match up with the opportunity. But there's nothing but opportunity. There's nothing but room at the top. So here's the first step. Incorporate yourself. This is one of the best books about the art of selling yourself. Think of yourself as a corporation. What are your core competencies? Who are your customers? What skills do you have to have in the next 18 months, 3 years, 5 years? How are you going to navigate all the changes? How is you Inc. How are you going to navigate all the changes that we are now facing? One thing that every smart company does, and one thing that I think is very important for every individual, is to conduct a SWOT analysis. That's an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are your threats? I suggest that you do this every quarter. You Inc. should do this every quarter to figure out, conduct a SWOT analysis for yourself. And be really honest. And don't be too modest either. You have strengths. You know, some people are bilingual, which I think is an amazing strength. Some people are very, very good at technology. It's amazing strength. Some people are very, very, very creative, very good with people. These are strengths. And to be very honest about your weaknesses. What is it that could possibly hold you back? And then fix it. And then fix it. What are your opportunities? As I said before, guys, there's nothing but opportunities. And then what are your threats? What is threatening you? Is it competition from other countries, from other people? Is it competition from technology? You don't have to be morbid about it, but think about what could possibly threaten you. And I don't mean that, and I mean that in terms of your You Inc. So I'm a big believer in the 3 F's. Now, not only am I a part-time professor at 2 major business schools, I'm also a trainer. So I train individuals, I train teams. So I'm always looking for a job. I'm a job seeker. I'm always looking for a job. If you're a freelancer, that's what a freelancer does. We're constantly looking for jobs. So here's what I believe are the 3 F's: faith, fitness, and friends. I don't necessarily mean religious faith. Well, that part, if that's important to you, that's great. But I also mean faith in yourself. Faith in yourself. Think about all the wins. Think about everything that went well for you, why it is, what your track record of success. Think about the things that you succeeded at. That will help you. You can't lose faith in yourself. You can't lose your confidence. Fitness is also extremely important. I am, a shameful couch potato. But I also tell my clients and tell my MBA students that fitness is extremely important for success in today's job market. You want to stay healthy, you want to look healthy. Your posture will show it, your energy level will show it. And for those of you, I know that some of you have, have children, 10 minutes on the living room floor of yoga is great, is great. Fit in whatever you can, fit in whatever you can. And friends, your friends are extremely important. Your friends will help you. Your friends will help you find jobs. Your friends will advise you. They'll tell you, do that. That's a great idea. Or they'll say to you, no, don't do that. It's a horrible idea. I think faith, fitness, and friends, especially when you're looking for a job, as I said, I'm with you. I am always looking for a job. And these three are extremely important in my opinion. So here's how to write a cover letter. The purpose of the cover letter is to have them look at the resume. The purpose of the resume is to have them write to you immediately and call you in for a meeting. Okay? Please consider me for the XYZ position you posted on your website. I am confident I have the skills, experience, and credentials to help you achieve your bottom line goals. Skills, experience, credentials. So after skills, you write down, you tell them what your skills are. Under experience, your job experience, and under credentials, your education, any certifications, etc. This is a preview of your resume. A lot of people think that repeating in the resume what's in the cover letter is, you shouldn't repeat it. That's ridiculous. Of course you should repeat it. This is a sales campaign. Of course you should repeat it. What are your skills? What are your experience? What is your experience? What are your credentials? Okay. That is the ultimate cover letter. That's your template for a cover letter. As I said, even if you're very happy in your current job, please don't just settle for that. Because things could change. I think even if you have a very, very good job and you're reporting to a brilliant visionary, I think it's really important to constantly have your resume updated, and to constantly be looking and to make sure that you understand what's going on in the job market. And so safe is the new risky. I'm not saying to jump around from job to job. If you have a great job in a great company, that's fabulous, and congratulations, congratulations. But if you don't, if don't stay in a job just to be safe, because that's not necessarily a good investment. So I think you should be constantly on the lookout for what's going on in the job market. Listen, keep reading, keep listening, keep learning. And we're so lucky. We're in the New York City job market, the New York City metro job market. We're really lucky. There are bazillions of jobs. Embrace the personal touch. In the Zoom age, your personality is the it factor. People will love you. People see you much more intimately on a Zoom call than they do on in person. I would like to hear later on, I would like to hear your comments on being on Zoom, on Zoom calls, on interviews on Zoom. There is a Twitter account called Room Rater, ROOMRATER, and he or she rates rooms from different Zoom rooms from various people on television. In general, my advice to you would be to look for opportunities to put books and plants in your Zoom room, or download, you know, another background. You can do whatever you want. Some people, I just caution you about not being on screen. I think you're losing a big opportunity to present yourself. So if you're being interviewed on Zoom, I recommend that you look at Room Rater on Twitter, because he or she has some good advice, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion. When you're looking for a job, it's not necessary to tell people that you're looking for a job. Tell people that you want to ask them for some advice. People love to give advice. It's also less pressure on you. It's also less pressure on them. And I know this sounds silly, but I think it works. I've seen it work. People, if you buy somebody a cheeseburger, they'll sit down and give you 5 names that you can call. I sometimes you have to spend money to make money, and you know, or just say, can I meet you at your you know, you've got a Starbucks around the corner from your office. Can I meet you there and buy you a latte? It's just amazing how people will respond to that. In my opinion, people don't eat lunch anymore. The business lunch is gone, but people will have, they will make time for you if you want to meet them for breakfast before their day begins. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. And if, you know, I believe me, I know, you know, I've been broke. I know what that's like. Then can I meet you at Top's Diner and buy you a coffee? Yeah, people just love to give advice, and really good people understand karma. I have found that if I help one person, 10 people will help me. So really smart people understand, if you help somebody out who's looking for a job, 10 people, it'll come back to reward you. Protect your reputation. If you get a call from an organization and they say they want to meet you, that means they've already gone through your social media profile. They've already checked you out. I've had arguments with undergraduates who can't understand why I think it's not a good idea to have pictures of you dancing merrily with your friends in a Paris nightclub. I don't think that's a good idea. I think be very careful about what you have on social media, because they will check you out. Not only some places, not only are they going to check out your credit rating, they're going to check out your social media, and clean it up, guys, clean it up. This is no time. You know, you have to be extremely careful about your reputation. It is a small world. I said before that we're lucky that we live in the New York metropolitan area, because there's so many opportunities. I mean, even if the world goes to hell in a handbasket, there's always going to be some jobs around here. You know, I think it's a good place to be, but it's also a small world. You do not want to get a reputation. Word gets around, not only about your behavior, but things like your your language, your as I said before, your credit rating, etc. So be very careful about social media. It's a very small world. So I want you to accept all invitations. Not all of them, but definitely this is your opportunity, guys, to be very, very, very social. You know, every barbecue, every shower, every part, you know, every party, every cocktail hour, every network, you just have to go to all those things. I hope that you have cards. You should have a business card. I think it should have your name and your contact information, and anything that you want to put, you know, anything really specific you want to put. But I also think that you should dress the part. No flip-flops, no sweatpants. If you're looking for a job, you got to be in super mode, and I don't mean that you've got to be wear a tux or a prom gown, but you want to look professional. So try not to leave your house. I mean, you know, you never know where an opportunity is. You never know what your next opportunity is. And everyone knows dozens of people. Everyone that you talk to during the day knows dozens of people that could potentially help you. So dress the part at all times. Dress the part. And again, you know, I'm not saying no jeans. I'm just look professional, okay? Look professional, or look business casual. Try not to, you know, the slob look is not going to get you anywhere. And you never know who you're going to bump into. You never know, okay? If you're in a serious job hunting situation, that is my opinion. So help them understand what you're offering. If you're a former teacher, you're good at motivating groups. You think fast on your feet. If you're a homemaker, you know how to multitask, you know how to run a budget, you know how to coordinate schedules. If you're a former bank teller, you know how to you're comfortable with cash, you know how to upsell. If you're good at customer service, you're extremely good with the public. You know how to resolve issues. You know how to maintain customer loyalty. Make sure they understand. Make sure you understand what you're offering, and then make sure that you help them understand what you're offering. Understand their needs. What people need these days are people who are effective. So that GTD versus GPA means getting things done. So that resume of yours should be bristling with accomplishments. What were the results of what you did? How many people did you reach? How much revenue did you produce? How much cost did you cut? How much of a percentage did morale improve? How did customer loyalty improve? How did winning new customers go? So what they want these days is they really don't care so much about credentials. What they want are skills. What people want are quantifiable results. Quantifiable results. One of the things I recommend that job hunters do is to create a hit list. What are the top 10 organizations you'd like to work for? Literally the top 10 organizations that you dream of working for. that will really give you, that doesn't mean you don't go for other jobs, but that gives you a real focus. It gives you an opportunity to do a lot of good research. Ask around, ask around, ask around. Let's say one of the top organizations for you is YouTube. So you see if you know anybody who, if you by any chance you know somebody who works for YouTube, maybe you can get together with them for coffee. Just keep on building that network. But those top 10 organizations, as I said, you can look for, apply for jobs everywhere, but there are top, think about your dream job. What are the top organizations that could help you? Develop your emotional intelligence. Very important. You could be the smartest person in the world. If you don't have emotional intelligence, you're not going to get anywhere. So what I want you to do is to be a realistic optimist. Yes, I want you to be realistic about the job market. It's a tough job market. The paradox is that there's so many jobs that nobody's going for. There's so many jobs, this great resignation. And yet the paradox is that it's very difficult to get a job in this chaotic environment. You just have to keep your focus, your research, you be in charge, get that information and manage by fact. Create your job campaign that it's actually based on fact. Where are the jobs? What do they need? Where are the skills? Okay, continue sharpening the saw. You have to keep on learning. Read constantly. I want you to read lots of junk and lots of really, really good stuff. Don't just read junk and don't just read very, very highly intellectual stuff. Read all of it. Continue to go to school. Rutgers University is a great place. It's a great place. And all the community colleges in our states are very, very, I think very highly of community colleges. So keep on going to school. Also, I'm personally completely out of my mind insane over podcasts. Podcasts, you can learn so much. And I'm learning, my dissertation is on French history, but I'm not really good at speaking French or understanding spoken French. I can read it, but I'm not. So I'm listening to a couple of really good podcasts, and there are millions of them. Don't forget to write to me and tell me if you've got a great podcast you'd like to share with me. I'm always up for a good podcast. All right, this is my final piece of advice to you. I want you to read this book because it'll help you when you're negotiating for salary. This is the best book on negotiation. And think about the big picture, guys. I have taken, in my career, I've taken sometimes a pay cut, but because the new job was going to give me so much, growth. So you want to go for the long term on the job. And finally, you must remember this: the whole world is negotiable. The whole world is negotiable. Stay on top of the facts, stay very focused, understand what people need. And as I said at the outset, guys, if you are smart and you work hard, you're going to land on your feet. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Please let me know. My email is susan.mach@machcreative.com. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, my good friend Debbie is going to start fielding some questions if you have any.
And I just want to say that I'll be sending a follow-up email so that I will include Susan's contact information in that email. So all of you will get a follow-up email.
Thank you.
And I also want to make an offer to you participants tonight that if you want help you can email me and I will lead you to library resources that can help you. So we have all kinds of resources on everything from resume writing to networking to so many more things, including sample resumes, ideas for where to look for jobs. So email me and I put my email in chat. So Susan, that was great. Thank you. I will add my email, Adina. It's in there, but I'll add it again. So I'd like to know who has a question that they'd like to ask so far. And I feel free to make it a personal question in terms of something specific to you. For instance, how do you handle a career lapse? Maybe you've been taking time to raise a family, or you had a period where you were unemployed. How do you handle that in an interview, on a resume? Susan, maybe you can help with that.
One of the first really good pieces of advice that I got was from a woman who I was talking to. I think my son was 2 years old and I was not in any position to take a 9-to-5 job. She suggested volunteering. And I think, I don't think being a full-time mom or full-time dad is a career lapse. I think you've got to help them understand what it is, those skills that you have that are so, I mean, I've seen full-time homemakers step into a job in corporate America and just was like gangbusters. She was so good. So don't look at it. I don't know. You've got to help them understand. And this is why relationships and networking is so important, because if people meet you, it wouldn't matter if you haven't worked in 7 years, because they'll say, oh, obviously he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. And I want to get to know him more. I want to see his resume and interview him.
And there's a way to list the skills you do as a volunteer also, right?
Of course, yep.
So to include that in your resume and include that in your cover letter.
Right, because you can raise money. Yep, you can manage scarce resources.
And there's even skills just as a homemaker, which is not a jest. I raise kids too, it's not a jest. Sherry, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, I just had one, if you would, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can she elaborate a little bit more on opportunities and threats? I'm not sure if I'm really clear on the opportunities and threats.
On the SWOT analysis.
Yes.
Susan?
Sherry, what are the opportunities that are open to you now?
Well,
that's what I want you to think. What jobs are open to you? What industries are open to you? What professional organizations are open to you?
oh, okay.
And the threats would be, I don't know. Well, for me, let me give you an example from my own experience, Sherry. For a while, I thought that, ironically, remote teaching was a threat. And you know what, Sherry? I love Zoom teaching. I love it. I love it. So anyway, does that clear things up for you, Sherry?
That helps a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any comments? I want to know what you think.
Hi, this is Katrina. I'm so sorry, but my camera has been acting up, but can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Katrina. Thank you.
Well, I just want to, first of all, thank you for the presentation. I actually work at the college and I help individuals look for jobs, find employment. So I definitely wanted to be a part of it to see that if you would, share some nuggets that I could still pass on. And really, the one thing that I really like, the idea of asking for advice. I'm always telling people to stalk LinkedIn and see if you have some kind of connections to that. But really, when I think about me personally, when people ask me for advice, I'm so willing to give it. And then I end up saying, oh, I heard about this opportunity. So I really like that, that particular nugget.
Yeah. I once knew a young man. He was an undergraduate and he was quite short. And he looked much younger than he actually was. And he was very smart, and he would call up, if he was looking for a job at a certain company, he would call up the executive at right after lunch, like at about 12:30, because he said they're back from lunch and they're like, trying to plan their afternoon. So he thought that 12:30, 1 o'clock was a good time to call somebody, because they'd be back in their office and they tend to answer the phone. But also he would say, I would love to take you out for coffee. And that's where I learned this idea that people who make $1 billion a second, if you say that you're going to buy them a coffee, they're going to, it's just a gracious thing to do. It's a real leadership thing to do too. It's acting like the host. Let me treat you. I'd love to buy you a cup of coffee. I'd love to ask you for your advice.
I do have one question for you that I get often. I just wanted to get your perspective, because I deal with, a lot of individuals who are like changing careers, or who have been with a particular company for over 20 years and then now find themselves looking for employment, and that they're now concerned about ageism, or the fact that, where longevity used to be a value add, they feel that it might be not as something that people look for now. So what are your
Right.
responses to that?
Right. That's why fitness is so important. Fitness is so important because you have to have the energy. You have to have energy. You have to project that energy. I think in smaller offices, smaller organizations, you're going to find less ageism. They tend to be more flexible. Small businesses tend to be more flexible. You got to move really fast to survive. So maybe stay away from those, excuse the expression, those stodgy old companies that still think in old-fashioned ways and don't know. You can hire, I've known brilliant visionaries in their 80s, and I've known tiresome old poops in their 30s, so in their 20s. So I think ageism is going to be less and less of a problem, because older people are more interested in working maybe flexible hours, maybe working only part-time. I have 2 friends in their 70s who just got huge promotions and raises. Huge.
Wow, that's
So yeah. In 2 different companies too. I mean, really good companies even. But so there is hope. I think smarter people are catching on to ageism not being a good long-term strategy.
I don't want to monopolize the conversation, but if no one's asking a question, I'm going to pick the mind, pick your mind. The other question that I have is regarding your cover letter, because I'm always like studying different things about cover letters. And I mean, what you presented is what I typically would do, but I've been reading a lot now about disruptive cover letters that are more like on a passionate personal level. What do you feel about that? And that's gonna be my last question, guys.
Audience, intent, message. Who's the audience? If you're writing to a place like Betterment, which is an investment company that's very, very socially responsible, that it depends on who the audience is.
Okay.
Depends on who. Definitely personality, Katrina. I don't want any old fogey cover letters. I want personality. But I don't know if I would overdo it, but that sounds very interesting to me, the passionate cover letter.
I don't know. That's because I'm just like a passionate person. I always tell people that people are attracted to energy. And so like you can't be humdrum, but I don't want to be too passionate within the, the cover letter.
I have the same issue, Katrina.
I mean, and you're right about the fitness too, because it just presents itself in a completely different way when you look and feel good. You know, you present yourself completely different, and I just feel that the energy is very key in terms of how you present.
Katrina, it's the fun factor.
Yes.
I once interviewed a woman for a job. She was very smart. She was hardworking. She knew much more about the company than I did. But I thought if I'm ever stuck with her in Heathrow Airport, at 4 a.m, I'll gouge out my own eyeballs. I really have to feel that it would be fun to work with you. And that is the energy, Katrina. That's the energy.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really got a lot out of tonight. Thank
Oh,
you.
good. Great. Please keep in touch, Katrina.
Will do.
Well, I have another one. I'm going back to when you first started in the beginning, when you said it's a lot of jobs out there, and you said it could take up to 18 months. If there's a lot of jobs out there, why would it take 18 months if you have the skill sets for a particular job you're looking for?
No, what I said was if you have a job that you love, it'll take in 18 months, you might not love it. Or if you hate your job now, you might love your job in 18 months.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I misunderstood.
No, I mean, believe me, 18 months is an eternity to be unemployed.
I was gonna say that.
Well,
I know
then,
some
Sherry,
people
I'm just
have.
glad that you spoke up, young lady. Thank you very much.
Hi there. I was wondering about, like, I love the whole idea about the socializing and the coffee, but like now I don't feel comfortable doing that.
I know. I know.
So what is there an alternative to that now or not really?
I don't know. How are you going to get somebody in a Zoom call? Yeah. Diane, I'm fully vaccinated and boosted, and I'm not as careful as you are. I didn't even think of that. Of course, you're absolutely right. You know what you could do, Diane? Why don't I meet you? Why don't I meet at Brookdale Park, right next to the, to the tennis, and I'll bring coffee, or maybe
Well, that's a good idea.
You can meet outside.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's an alternative for now.
Yeah.
And the woman, it was Katrina who was talking about the cover letters. I recently, well, in the last couple of months, I've been attending like everything I can because I figure the more information, the better. And about cover letters, 2 separate seminars also stressed personal stories, which like years ago would be taboo,
Right.
but they've actually said, like, put your personal story out there. People want to see that now, which to me like went against everything I ever learned to do about trying to get a job. It was about being as generic as you possibly could.
No, not generic. No, you've got to be very, very specific. And I would put the personal story under experience, like skills, experience, credentials.
Well, they were talking about cover letter.
That's what I meant. But the cover letter was going to include experience, skills, and credentials.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
For example, a lot of doctors, if you talk to medical students, a lot of them said it was somebody in their family getting real, real sick, taken care of. And that's a good way of talking about your passion and how it fits in with your backstory.
Okay. You know what? I was taking notes and I missed adding that note into the cover letter. So I'm going to add that now.
Right. I didn't say that, Diane. You're the one who brought it up, but I think that you're smart. I'm really very appreciative, and I think we can just fit it under experience.
Okay.
As someone who has suffered, as someone who has taught, others how to read, I'm very, there's a lot of ways that you could make it very personal.
Okay.
I just want to add another type of socializing that goes on. There are 2 things. One is there are quite a few job seeker groups that meet weekly on Zoom or monthly or whatever. And it's a bunch of like-minded people who are looking for work, trying to help each other. And usually there's a speaker, and then there is a lot of online networking. If you want to find out about those job seeker groups, you can email me and I'll help you find those. So that's one thing. And the other thing that I'm a big believer in, and Susan, I'm sure you are too, is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is this amazing resource that's been around now for a while, where you can ask people, you can connect with people, ask them to connect with you. And you can also join groups. And when you join a group, like let's say, for instance, I'm trying to think of one, maybe there's a just out of college group. When you join a group, for the people in the group, you can contact all their contacts. So with one joining a group, you may suddenly get 200 contacts. And that's a great way to do that. And again, I can help you with that if you want help.
Great, thank you. And we'll have your email when you send out the email to us then, right?
You will, and I'll put it in chat. I can put it in chat again.
Oh, okay, alrighty, I'll watch for it. Thank you.
I don't know whether anybody wants to talk about people who are just coming out of college, recent graduates, whether there's any special tip for them. Susan, any special ideas for people who are just coming out of school?
I think that follow your nose. Follow your nose and follow your gut. My son was a philosophy major at Rutgers, and he was actually a major in Eastern philosophy. And as you might have noticed, there's not a lot of jobs out there for people who are experts on Eastern philosophy. However, so obviously his first job out of college, he was a busboy. And within like 2 weeks, he was the guy who was running the front, the reception desk. And then like a month later, he was training the staff. I mean, I think that follow your nose, follow your heart, do what you love to do what you love, the money will follow. And I just think grab every skill, grab every class, just tell get a business card, tell everybody you're looking for advice, and just go for it. Have fun doing it. Have fun, because it's just a game, and you've got plenty of skills. You just got out of college, you've got plenty of skills.
That sounds like very good advice. Thanks, Idel. I want to tell you about a couple programs we have coming up. Next week, we have 2 really fun programs. If you want to get away from stress. If you like crossword puzzles, on Wednesday, we're doing a program with an editor of the New York Times crossword puzzle column, and she will be giving tips on how to do crossword puzzles.
Oh, that sounds great.
It's going to be really fun. That's on Wednesday. And on Thursday, we're doing a tribute to Judy Garland with what I think is I did a lot of research. I think he is one of the top experts on Judy Garland and Wizard of Oz. So if you want to just have a good time, those are 2 programs that are coming up. Later in the month, we also have a writer's workshop, which I encourage you to take too, because it's not, once writing is writing, and once you get fluent on it, you can write anything. It's a matter of just using your writing muscle. And I want to encourage everybody to sign up for the newsletter, which is the surefire way to find out about what's happening at the library. Are there any other questions I can answer, that Susan can answer? Or she's quite an expert on many, many things.
I had so much fun. Thank you so much. Please, everybody, stay in touch with me. I want to know what you think. That's why I teach, and that's why I train, because I learned so much. Let me know what you think. And Debbie Walter, you were doing a phenomenal job.
Oh, thanks.
I am so proud to know you. I'm honored to work with you, because I think you're doing a phenomenal job.
I'm going to stop the recording right here.
All right. I'll see you.